All right, so today's video, we're going to be watching an Emerald 4 support on PC, so our first ever Emerald VOD review here, and it's going to be playing Kiriko. And I say, hi everyone, I don't have a story with this game, so instead of that, I want to share how my rank journey has been because I'm sure there are others who can relate. I know my mental causes most of my problems and it's probably the biggest thing that holds me back from climbing and reaching my full potential. Even though I've grown to truly love competitive, I go through this vicious cycle with ranked anxiety. I will be fine until I reach a new peak or come close to a new tier. Then I start to feel like I've been boosted by the system or my hero or whatever else, and I take every loss as proof of that until I eventually just go back to quick play for a while. I have to reconvince myself that my rank doesn't matter and remind myself that I only play competitive because I want to improve, not see a shiny new icon or a number tick up. Just to give you a little bit of a note here, and I'm just gonna like kind of show you like real sports and stuff. Like football or baseball, etc. You notice how like all of them have different divisions for players to improve and get better. The point I'm making is like just take one game at a time and don't try to like hit that home run every single time. Like you gotta like improve, and like improvement comes with like focusing on what to improve on, and it's a lot of the little things in Overwatch, like move, like listen, always work on your aim, always work on your movement, but like it's gonna be the other stuff, like the game knowledge, understanding like how a team fight's gonna break out when things get wild in a team fight, and the way you get that is through experience. So the point I'm making is, yeah, you might get stuck at somewhere for a while, but as if you commit to figuring out why it's where you're having problems at, it can go a long way. Point being is with ranked anxiety, it is a thing though, I get it, but you'll eventually you'll keep climbing. It can happen. I don't know if I'm mentally ready for Diamond yet, so I think Emerald is exactly where I belong right now, and I'm very happy they've added it because bouncing back and forth from Plat to Diamond like I had been. All right, one second, chat. Sully, bud. All right, I'm very happy they've added it because bouncing back and forth from Plat to Diamond like I had been for the last year wasn't doing my mental any favors. I believe I know the game pretty well and I make the effort to self-VOD review, but I'm really hard on myself when I do. I see so many mistakes that it's hard to know which ones are actionable and which ones are hindsight. I think having someone else look at my gameplay and suggest things to focus on would go a long way to help. And if chat or the comments have any tips for ranked anxiety or just want to commemorate with me, I'd love to hear it. Thank you for your consideration. Yeah, I mean, like I said, like it always approach it with one game at a time. When you start to do that, things get a lot, not easier, but like it's just, you can't bring in your previous, I guess, ranked games as much. It's kind of like in basketball, like, when a player keeps missing all their shots, if they keep thinking about missing their shots, they're probably going to miss more shots. They need to see the ball go through the hoop, right? And once you see the ball go through the hoop, and that example being ranked and seeing a win, then things get a little bit better. Sir, listen, sir. Anyway, so we'll see what happens here. I'll try to give you as much feedback as I can without overwhelming you, and we'll see what happens. And we're on the reworked map. Actually, pausing for 1 second. While we're here, I just want to kind of remind people on the rework now, this exists. I find that people haven't even figured this out yet because it's just not like as obvious. There is a doorway here now that goes this way, and it can go all the way this way. See? So just remember, this exists now on Rio. Underneath these stairs, there's another entrance to the point this way and or behind the point this way, so you're not just like going from this far back. So just remember that. That's just something to kind of put there, that spot exists now. All right, here we go. All right, going for some early spam. Not bad. With Kiriko, that's a good idea. Looking at your comp, it's a very interesting setup here. You have your Matra on the low ground and the rest of the team on the high ground. This is a setup. Already, your team has cornered yourself, by the way. Just kind of putting that out there. With your positioning, but you can get away with it because you have TP. So, listen, I love going for damage all the time, and I think is in 5v5, it is more important, but you had to recognize right away that your Matra's a little bit out of position, so then you have to adjust your play style. So like, kind of talking about, you were asking questions about how do you adjust things. Like, sometimes you need to adjust to how your teammates play, and like right there, I could already tell that, your Ramatra being on the low ground was going to be a problem, and if nobody goes there and helps the Ramatra, you're going to lose your Ramatra right away. So now your team is in this weird spot where if they can sustain their tank, you're going to end up having to fall back, and that's exactly what happens. Now your team is split, and it's kind of funny because like you're going to probably win this team fight maybe, but like I don't think you should have. But just to point out to you, like, dude, I'm getting rolled today. If I try to record, Sully goes and knocks his stuff down, and then I finally do that, now I'm sneezing. What the heck? All right, anyway. So like this type of team fight shouldn't be as chaotic as it is. And of course your team wins it, but like if that's kind of like the decision making that you normally do, that's where you might have some inconsistencies, right? Remember, not only do you have to play your style, you have to recognize how your teammate's playing and adapt as quickly as you can. If your teammate wants to play the low ground, I'm okay with you being the high ground, but you have to scan. You have to scan for your teammates. Thanks for the watch, appreciate it. You have to scan for your teammates and kind of understand where they're at. Like right there, you weren't really looking at your Ramatra. So your Yamato could fall over because of that. We'll see how that plays out. Obviously, your team's doing well. Probably didn't need that cleanse if you wanted me to be a little bit like, I don't know, analyze it as much as I can. But it's easier said than done because sometimes I use cleanse too early because it just seems fun and an easy way to get your teammates back up. Remember, your Yamacho's playing a little bit aggressive, so this is who you got to kind of pay attention to for a second. All right, there's a cleanse. Don't use ult yet. You could ult in a second if you want to. There you go. I like that ultimate because you're kind of letting their ultimates fall off during that. And then that way your teammates are still getting value. So far, you're playing this fairly well. But again, what's the problem here, right? Is it goes back to how your Ramatra plays, which means that if your teammates give up any space, you're probably going to lose the team fight. So in a certain situation, you want to battle for that space more by going to the high ground and trying to make a play from above. It's not easy, but like as you can see, there's so much to think about, and that's why you want to take one step at a time and start with recognizing how your tank's playing. Right? Your tank's playing a little bit low groundy and aggressive. That means you're going to play a little bit more on the angle of Ramatra, and you can TP out later. And if you both go down, you both go down. Shatter range is pretty far, yeah, but I feel like even though it sucks to play against with the long shatter range, I think it's because there's so many mobile heroes now that like heroes that can play far back that like you just need to have some type of value. Yep. Well, yeah, I mean, it was a waste of cleanse for sure. But I think this goes back to like not just recognizing the situation, and that really starts with that was a weird cleanse because like the Anran dodged your cleanse. I know why you cleansed that one. Now, what have we noticed here the whole time, by the way? I'm just going to kind of show you what I see. And again, your teammate's fine, but while you're on this off angle, you're so concentrated on keeping your Anran alive. We want to hear some crazy stuff here for Anran. You know who keeps Anran alive? Not saying don't heal your Anran, but do you know who keeps Anran alive? Anran. Anran has mobility to go for health packs in the gameplay loop. A lot of that is playing around. I don't know what the health packs are now, but a lot of like that gameplay, oh, there's one. That gameplay loop is basically the Anran has to survive. If you are pocketing an Anran from the high ground as Kiriko, you're already giving up value elsewhere. And like truthfully, you're lucky this Reinhardt didn't take advantage of this Domina down here because a Domina and a Mizuki will not be able to sustain and keep alive a teammate if they do this right here. So because you're so concentrated on this Anran, you have now caused some issues here with cooldown usage and falling behind, and now you're already down an advantage. So again, recognize the heroes you have and see what happens. If being a part of the team as Kiriko is fine if you're on the high ground, which I'm okay with the position. But keep in mind, you will fall behind from that initial Anran moment. See? So because you kind of fell behind in that initial Anran moment, the rest of the way your team is just getting grinded down over and over again, unless you're able to come back with your own ultimates. So that's the point I'm making is like, don't get me wrong, heal an Anran, but don't go out of your way to like spend 15 to 20 seconds keeping your Anran alive. Caveat to that, you can go on flanks with your Anran. Like if you want to go on like cool flanks, but that's going to be more damage heavy, and then you disengage out like without helping each other, if that makes sense. This is fine. This is what I'm talking about, like going in a little bit more aggressive on that. Now you're on the point, but your teammates have it. So you want to TP out. There you go. Perfect. Yep. Again, your Anran's on going for health packs, so there's nothing you can do about that. And then you end up going down there. So that was just good ult usage, and honestly, your team's comp selection has made it a little bit difficult. You are running into an issue of like, you know, hero selection and what your team's running here. Just remember, like when you watch Kiriko be played in high levels, a lot of it is off-angle-y, but it's also being able to get back to your teammate to TP. I feel like right now you're trying to TP aggressively into your teammate, and it's putting you behind the rest of the way. Like you're turning into like panic mode where you basically have to like start to like run around in circles and use this cooldown and that cooldown. And Kiriko gameplay does end up being that way sometimes, but it's usually forced by the enemy, not just like you do it automatically. See that right there? You're off-angling, you get a free kill on a feed and Vendetta. Perfect job right there. That was great. See the difference there? Where when you're off-angling and you're just playing with your team, and now you have like more things front and center, things are going better. Now this is because the third point naturally plays this way. Okay, I'm still okay with this. Remember, your job is to escape here out eventually. You can Kitsune this up front if you would like. I'm okay with that Kitsune as long as it doesn't run into the cart. Now I'm just kind of curious. It does run into the cart. Remember, just as a note for Kitsune, the fox that goes out, you need to angle it. You need to angle it to not do this. So what it does is it runs into the cart. So what I would have done is actually either ended up over here with one of your teammates and quickly use it, or I would have tried to go down here and use it. Again, it's not the worst case scenario since your team is going to have to fall back anyway. But look how like far your Kitsune goes because of that. It could go to like about here, I think, give or take. See? It could go about like right here, and it goes here. So remember that with Kitsune placements. The fox can run into it, and that's that. So Now you lose value and your team's cornered. Still though, you know, it's still going to be effective. Your teammates falling back into it. It could be much better. Yeah. Good shot. You're doing the right play here. Now remember, trying to get to your Mizuki if you can, or your teammate in spawn. I do respect this. There you go. Now you went to the to the Domino, so I'm fine either way. That cleanse was necessary. I know that sucks to have to use it there. Again, I will say your dominant positioning. Dominant positioning is not ideal for anybody playing Domino. If you're playing against a Rhine, you have to keep backing up and playing to poke out and do damage until the Rhine shield's broken. The Dominant is playing very hyper aggro, which is causing the problem there. Good news is you have a Mauga now, so you pretty much set the rest of the game. You're doing some good stuff, but I want you to take note of the moments where you're almost like feeding into the team to try to save somebody, but it's all because you're not like properly positioning to begin with. And I think that's going to be a little bit more off-angly, and remember, TP to your team out. Yes, here you go. There you go. Now you can TP back. Now you have a cooldown that's pretty quick, and you can do the same rotation. Obviously, if your Mauga plays aggressive. See? Cleanses have been good, at least. Now, let me rephrase that. Your cleanses haven't been perfect, but your cleanses have been hidden. And that is what I mean. Like, that is always a good sign when your cleanses hit. It's always a good sign. Good find. I know my editor would have been pretty mad right there if that happened. So good job saving that. You like that I didn't forget the backline person? Yeah. I mean, that's why I want them to do that for the tank too. But keep in mind, like I said, the tank is playing a little bit more hyper aggro, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. But that's why you want to find off angles to where you can go back to your team, heal your tank, and also do damage. It's easier said than done, but most maps have that opportunity. I'm okay if you do that because you have a... Now you're like, why are you okay with that cleanse? You know, they were still surviving. Because if you're going to Kitsune, which was obvious that was going to be the next play, look how quickly you get Kitsune back. Remember, you get all your cooldowns come back quicker in Kitsune. So like that's even in pro play, you'll see like an early Kitsune off of a Kiriko ultimate, or I mean early Suzu, excuse me, off of a Kiriko ult, because like your cooldown comes back so quick that you kind of get like two, you know, Suzu. So you do one for free to kind of guarantee you don't lose the team fight. You know what I mean? Slam in. I mean, things got a lot better once your teammates swapped the Mauga anyway, because like I feel like the matchup wasn't quite there. Sierra ultimate should be in a good spot. A little bit of a note, and it's a small note, and I've been doing this a lot more in Kiriko. Definitely try to go with more like higher wall climbs rather than like the small like on the cart ones. So like going up here and then maneuvering around and jumping back and forth could be really good. But you're doing a decent job. Like if you want to, and you probably need to hear this, you're doing a pretty good job. All things considered, like you're doing a good job. So like, I want you to kind of just recognize some of the points I've been making to you, because like it's little things like that. Remember, you don't need to have your aim become the best in the world, right? There's going to be teams that the players don't have. They have amazing aim, but it's not the best in the world. But it works because they're good at everything else too. Like their aim is good enough to kind of take duels that they need to, but it's their decision making that really makes or breaks some of the gameplay. You know, it's all about that quick decision making, and that's why I want you to remember: don't skip steps. Just one game at a time. Start to angle a little bit more. Recognize how your team's playing. Generally, your tank in this comp is going to be how you look at that, and then decide. At the beginning, I felt like you didn't adjust to your tank. I felt like by third point you did, but here's the thing, third point kind of naturally plays that way, so it kind of forces you to play that way. What happens when you're in the more open space parts of these maps? And this is kind of where we're looking at, is like, what do you do in these situations? So, we'll see. Yeah, I mean, aim comes with time. Aim's been like fine. It's not like, I'm not like even saying that's the problem here either. That's what I mean. So let's talk about decision making. Their team is all set up over here. Okay, their team is all set up over here. You have an Echo bottom left that is really low, that refuses to get a health pack, and your team gets an early pick right away. So why are you all the way back here just sitting up on the high ground? I understand you want to go for range, but like, ready for this? It's like what? A very short swift step cooldown. You swift step over, you keep your Echo alive. If you really want to go back to the high ground, in a few seconds you go there, you can wall climb up, then you can TP back to your soldier if you want safety. But you're playing so safe there that you end up losing your Echo. Now, again, just to make it clear here, if you're the Echo player, get the health pack. But either way, if your teammate's not going to do that, you need to make that quick decision. So it comes down to a lot of quick decisions that you're not making, and I think that's what you need to like work on and improve, and that's one thing to improve on that would level up your gameplay. Straight up. It's like not trying to like recognize what your teammate's doing, notice they're not going over that health pack, go save your Echo, and this is a way different team fight. You still have the momentum going. Instead, your teammates die, you fall back, you lose all that initial pick you got. Yes, you got a pick and they rezzed it, but that means they don't have res again, but now your team fight is slowed down. All because one teammate goes down there in a spot where I didn't think it was necessary for them to go down. Obviously, if they were in the middle of the open, that would have been fine, but this is fine positioning for now.
Under my protection.
Yep, this is fine for now. How's your tank doing? Uh-huh. Yeah. See what I mean? Remember when I said, how's your tank doing? This is why early game, pay attention to your tank's play style and make the adjustments. Right now, you leave your tank there, you go over, you have an unlucky cleanse, bad cleanse, etc. But like the point I'm making is like you're kind of forcing these plays that don't really need to happen if you're paying attention to what your tank's doing. I gotta be honest with you, I feel like you're playing too safe. I feel like your gameplay loop right now is okay, I gotta pause. I'm just gonna stop right now. Okay, so here's the thing, is your gameplay loop is going to safety on the off angles. But you don't, like, if you watch a good Kiriko, yes, a good Kiriko goes on off angles, but if you're going on far angles like that the whole game, you're gonna nerf yourself and you're gonna nerf your team. So the point I'm making is, like, this is the right idea, wrong timing. Sustain your team. Keep your team alive. As your team breaks out, that's when the angles happen, right? See what I'm saying? You're forced in the really early angles when the team fight is still happening, which means that your Mauga has no opportunity to keep pushing up, which requires your Mizuki to keep the heals. You're doing the right idea, right? Wrong timing. Sustain your team as you take map control, then your off angles break out, and then, like, you get a kill and you go over here and you start doing, like, see this? Look at this. Imagine if your team has control here, and as you get a kill, you're over here. This makes more sense, and you can TP back. But you're going all the way back here and not even establishing this part of the map first. You got to take the map like in chunks. Like take it, a little bit at a different approach. Hopefully this is helpful to you, because I think this is like what you need to see to know that you're doing some of the right plays. It's just the wrong timing at times. You don't have to Kitsune this. If you did, I wouldn't complain either. Like, I like winning team fights, so. Okay. So you capture the point, that's good. Hey. Still waiting. Yep. Lot of downtime. So let's talk about this very quickly. Before we start. So if they're all back here, right? If they're all back here, why are you waiting all the way back here, though? Now, see, Pop's like, I get what you're saying, but, like, here's the problem. Why not be up a little bit further for the pre-poke? So, like, poking out cooldowns is an important part of Overwatch. So you're giving up space. You're basically giving them this part of the map for free right here, right? See this here? Like, you're giving away this part of the map for free, which this is where the defense holds this point, right? So the point I'm making is, go here. Go here for a little bit more aggressive poke. See what I'm saying? So you go for the poke, and then you can just go backwards to your teammate and then do the same exact Kitsune. See what I'm saying? The Kitsune idea is great, right? See this? This is great. This is a good Kitsune. But, like, go up here and poke them out. Next thing you know, you get a random headshot, and then your Rhine fire strikes. Or not your Rhine, your soldier helix rockets in and kills somebody, right? But the point is this is where you find the opportunity to get those off angles because you have the map control, right? But playing back here, all you're doing is waiting for them to come in. And, like, in Overwatch, denial of space is a huge part to win in this game. You want to deny the space. When you're sitting back here, you're not denying space, you're just waiting for them to make their play. So you're giving this team opportunity to regroup as 5 without taking any damage. Yeah, you can poke from here, but, like, look at the angle. You got, like, one singular spot. Going here, heck, maybe you kill the torp turret, right? Like, little things like that can win team fights just because you're up there pre-poking before the team fight even happens. So anyway, hope that makes sense on, like, what I'm saying here. Oh, hi, buddy. It's a lot of, like, small things that you need to pick up on that will go a long way. But if you need to hear this, you're fine. You can climb. I'm seeing it. Like you got things down. You just got to get the timings right. All right.
Appreciate it. Carried on the wind.
Now again, you still win the team fight, right? Oh, you're good, Pops. No. Just a little bit of a note. It's okay to come up with like feedback, advice, things like that. And worst comes to worst, if you put something in the chat that like I don't agree with, I'll explain why. Right? That's it. Like you're good. Like I don't mind people being helpful. I say it all the time, and like in YouTube comments, on Twitch, etc. Yeah, you can be helpful all you want. I'm not gonna know everything. And if I feel like something's off, I'll let you know. But like you're gonna learn too. Right? I don't care. Like that's part of that. I'm not going to be right about everything too. Sometimes people will come up with something like, "Oh, you're right." Like that makes more sense, right? Yeah, share your knowledge, just don't be a dick about it, you know? That's how I look at it. Anyway. So what ended up happening, chat, after that whole discussion we just had? There was a 2 to 3 second window where you couldn't heal your teammates. And why is that, chat? Why is that? Because the Torb turret. The Torb turret. Remember what I said earlier? You could have pre-poked out the Torb turret if you played more aggressive. Later on in the team fight, you're not able to focus on your team as much because you had to take time to kill that Torb turret. Now, could they have put it down later in the team fight? Yeah, but the point is, like, if you were up there on that pre-poke spot, this team fight's a little bit cleaner. Now, of course, your teammates do well, and you're winning team fights. But remember, just because you win team fights doesn't mean that it's the most optimal play or, like, the perfect play. So I want to show you that, like, there's things you can do to make this team fight even easier. You can make these things easier by just, like, doing the first step first. And then, so that's why I say don't skip steps. Learn the process of that, and things will get better for you, okay? You're playing in my opinion, you're playing a very solid game of Overwatch, but a lot of the little things is probably what gets you stuck. Like, you're not, because like, what you're seeing mechanically is things are like, I should be climbing. But what you're not doing is making the correct decisions consistently, which then will slow down and make your team fights inconsistent, right? Right now, Soldier, top right. If you want to go somewhere, I would go Soldier top right now, or now Mauga, Soldier top right, 100%. You can stay here, but once this team fight breaks out, I would go to the Soldier in a minute to give yourself a high ground and then escape out. Yep. Now, if you were up on the high ground, you would have been able to push up with your Mauga quicker, and then now you're able to make a decision to save your Mauga. See what I'm saying? Same concept, and you're up on the high ground with your Soldier, and then you can go and maybe save your Mauga. Now, chat's going, hey, would I go in there and TP to save Mauga? Honestly, probably. Is it a good play? No, but like I'd rather, you know, a Mauga in the backline who survives pretty much carries that team fight. So you have to make a decision of risk-reward. You know, is it the best play? No. Do I like it? It's like a 70-30 play in favor of the defense. But if you position yourself initially correctly, you can then make another decision after to make it easier to see if you win that team fight. That was a very ambitious high noon. Okay, Kitsune main in a minute here. I'm okay with keeping your teammate alive. This is your Kitsune main time. Yep, you got distracted on the Soldier. With the Moira. Kitsune, okay, listen, you have 2 Maugas. You have 2 Maugas. You can win this right now. You have 2 Maugas. You can win this.
Let the Kitsune guide you.
Okay, so let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. First of all, card's not moving. Second of all, let's talk about this again. Okay? Do you notice how your ult went super late? Why risk it? If you send that ult even sooner, you win that team fight quicker. And like, now you're fully dominating the map control. Instead, it gets a little bit wonky there, right? Like, I still think your team is doing a good job here. And again, your positioning's fine here for now. I'm okay with this. But now, what's the problem? That Ryan is not going to go for you. So you're good. Okay, I'm gonna teach you something here. Slow down your aim for a second. It's just like when you're playing Kiriko, okay, I can tell you right now, because this is the problem I had on Kiriko, and I've gotten a lot better at it recently. Stop rushing your shots. If your shots are missing, you need to find your projectile speed correctly. You're not finding your projectile speed correctly, so you're missing a lot of your shots. You want to slow down your projectile speed just enough to be able to, like, see where that's going. That's a shatter, big slam, but you win the game. So, great job. You win the game. But I hope what you learn from this is that, like, you're making a lot of, like, choices that you're skipping the first step. You're doing a good job on the second and third step, but you're skipping the first step, which is then causing inconsistencies. So start to TP to that Soldier quicker. Start to use your ultimate a little bit faster. Stop going on the super, super safe off angle until the team fight breaks out a little bit more, right? All of those things added up, you're going to climb. Straight up. Because your mechanics are pretty much there. Obviously, you miss some shots in Kiriko. That just comes with understanding their projectile speed. If you're missing all your shots, just take a second to reset your projectile speed. Sometimes it's just a cooldown flow. You know, the further you play, the longer range your Kitsunes become. I mean, not your Kitsunes, your Suzus. So the longer range your Suzus are, even though you're hitting them, it has a travel time, which means you have risk of your teammates dying. So just be a little bit quicker. Be a little bit quicker on TPing to your teammates. Be a little bit quicker on, you know, understanding the, like, find the pace of your take. Little things like that, you're going to climb. Like, I'm not worried about your decision-making when it comes to, like, or not your decision-making, let me phrase it, like your movement, your aim, that's pretty okay for being an Emerald, even Diamonds there. But it's more about the rest of the game and how you want to play that. So just a little bit quicker on the decisions. I hope that I kind of showcased you what I mean by that. It's you're missing that one step. Like, you're kind of opting for the safe play, and you need to find the middle ground of that. You can just go up an extra 10 feet, poke out early. Things like that, you'll start to see success. You got this. You absolutely got this. If you like the video, make sure to the like button, subscribe to the YouTube. If you haven't, leave a comment. All that helps. You want to submit your own spectating, my Discord's where to do that. And if you want to watch another one of these, click the left over here. It's going to be a good one. With that being said, hope you all have an amazing day/night.